carrying even the Max Geyser as well, specifically to help change the weather and also to help boost the Rotom Wash. So there's definitely so many different ways you can play this. I think like for game one, maybe Nihal wants to play a little bit safer. You'll definitely want that Conkeldurr Weather as a leader in the back. I think like Rotom Wash is a pretty good Pokemon, especially if you get like a quick Nasty Plot off. You can bring in the Arcanine for Intimidate for both Tyranitar and Excadrill. Gengar is like a super intriguing Pokemon to me, but I feel like it doesn't have much room in this matchup, at least not for game one, because you're getting outsped by Dragapult. If Tyranitar sets up the Sand, then it can just, bring you down to your Focus Sash through a Crunch and then just KO you. But there is some value to Gengar in the sense that, assuming that it has that Focus Sash, we'll be able to get like one big attack off before it faints. I would just kind of be surprised to see it come out here in game one. And for Yuya's end, one thing that he's done really well, I think, throughout the course of this tournament is choosing who to Dynamax. And like the times we've seen him on stream, he often switches it up.
Yeah.
So I think like his flexibility allows him to just make so many cool plays.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team where literally any Pokemon could Dynamax for Yuya. Togekiss and Dragapult, the leads, matching up immediately against the Bisharp and Arcanine. So Arcanine not hitting anything with that Intimidate, and Bisharp out here.
It's out here.
Jump. It has a good matchup against the Togekiss, but your Dragapult's still happily protected by the Follow Me from Togekiss from any Sucker Punch, which is what I at least always assume is what Bisharp wants to do when it's on the field.
Yeah, I think, Nihal here probably trying to lead to counter maybe like the Sand mode a little bit more, but Arcanine here gets pretty much no mileage at all. That Intimidate doesn't do anything, and like you mentioned, Bisharp would look good here if Togekiss wasn't next to it, but because Togekiss is out there, you can easily redirect any attacks away, and we've actually seen that this Dragapult does have that Max Flare as well, so you can just go for something, or sorry, not a Max Flare, it has a bunch, it is specially oriented though, so, you can do a lot of damage. One thing you have to watch out for though is going for a Max Wormwind to just increase the attack, because Bisharp, of course, with Defiant will get an attack boost from there. So, Bisharp here could even consider Dynamaxing if you're confident on surviving the turn, maybe going for a Max Steel Spike into the Togekiss.
Yeah, really interesting point to have a Bisharp out against this now Dynamax Dragapult. Dragapult gets a lot of options that lower the opponent's stats, which of course you don't want to do to a Bisharp on the other side. That Defiant just going to go ahead and boost its attack up to make good use of it. Dynamax is countered by Nihal using his own Dynamax factor to match the Dragapult with the Bisharp. Go Power Bisharp.
That is my first time seeing a Dynamax Bisharp, and I think it actually is a great choice for Dynamax here. So,
the Bisharp has been promoted to a Queen Art.
Yeah. Follow me there just to play it safe. You don't want to take a Max Darkness or a potential Sucker Punch there. So just making sure like Dragapult will survive this turn. There's the Max Geyser. Let's see. This is enough to knock out the Arcanine here. Oh, it actually goes to the Bisharp. Wow.
Does some good damage there. Not enough to pick up the KO. Wouldn't have been enough to pick up the KO on the non-Dynamax Bisharp either. Even with that Life Orb. Just a Snarl coming out from Arcanine to lower the Togekiss's special attack. Of course, the Clear Body on Dragapult preventing itself from taking any damage or any drops from that. Max Darkness from the Bisharp going to connect with the Togekiss as well. Critical hit. Not very effective damage. Still gets about half of that Togekiss's health gone thanks to the crit.
Yeah, so Bisharp trying to maybe just get a little bit aggressive. Hope that Yuya doesn't go for a Follow Me, but Yuya playing it safe there. I actually really like the decision to Max Geyser now, because now you'll knock out the Arcanine in Rain and with Life Orb, but you could also go for the target onto the Bisharp, and now with the Rain up, you could potentially pick up a knockout on either Pokemon. Arcanine, however, did get the Snarl, so of course that kind of negates the damage output, but perhaps something like a Helping Hand from Togekiss can further increase Dragapult's damage output here. So yeah, Bisharp, a Pokemon that we never really see in the format to begin with, and choosing to Dynamax here by not going for that Max Steel Spike though means that there is more Follow Me pressure.
All right, Rotom is coming in for Arcanine instead, trying to get some better offensive pressure that's not just going to faint to this Max Geyser. Good Max Guard there from the Bisharp, going to take that Max Geyser and another Dazzling Gleam to the Max Guard, while Rotom just takes a little bit of chip damage here on the switch in, but Rotom now able to threaten a knockout on that Togekiss, which might free up Bisharp to do a little bit more damage back to Dragapult if it gets a chance.
Yeah, the big question here is Yuya able to knock out this Bisharp this turn? And if you are able to, I think like Dragapult looks really, really good against every Pokemon that Nihal has brought so far. It's able to get consistent damage off across the board. Once it's non-Dynamax, you can just kind of spam Shadow Ball or Draco Meteor as well. So Yeah, I think that's a good defensive play by Nihal, though, to kind of counteract Yuya's heavy offense in these first couple of turns.
All right, just a protect on the Togekiss. Not going to let Rotom pick up a KO with the Thunderbolt. Actually showing ally switch.
Little cheeky there.
Boy. Let's flip some coins here. Max Geyser, did Yuya accurately predict the switch? No. Having not seen ally switch yet before, targeting down the Bisharp instead, just going to deal damage to Rotom. Deal some good damage to it thanks to the rain, but will activate the Citrus Berry. Rotom's going to heal up some of that while Bisharp gets the fire off this Max Darkness into that Dragon Ball.
Wow, talk about a fantastic turn there from Nihal. Not only does he survive the turn with Bisharp, but also knocks out the opposing Dragon Ball, which is such a big offensive threat there. So, of course,
such a strong ally switch.
Yeah, Dragon Balt's special attack not being lowered earlier because of that clear body. So, yeah, you know, the Max Geyser there does just guarantee the knockout onto Bisharp, but that's why ally switch can be such a good move. All it takes is one big ally switch, and once again, it's very difficult to just predict that, especially if you haven't played your opponent before. So, goes for it in the perfect position, and this Bisharp has provided so much utility. I didn't think I'd see a day where Bisharp would knock out Dragapult while it's being supported by Togekiss, but here we are.
Especially the Dynamaxed Bisharp without any kind of access to priority.
Yeah.
You love to see it.
So exciting, though, and Dynamax Bisharp really put in a lot of work here, and the lack of something like a Max Flare from that Dragapult meant that it's a little bit harder to get the knockout onto Bisharp. You have to go for 2 attacks, and like you mentioned, you can't go for something like a Max Warm Wind or a Max Ghost. First of all, those don't even do very much damage, but more importantly, they also give Bisharp a stat increase through Defiant.
All right, well, Rotom out for Yuya this time around. Bisharp going to just go ahead and protect itself from anything coming out from the enemy Rotom or Togekiss while firing off his own Hydro Pump, connects with the Togekiss, picks up that KO. Thanks to, I believe, some of those drops earlier on from the Dynamaxed Bisharp. And, of course, the Protect coming up huge here. Yuya not getting anything out of that turn.
Yeah, it's pretty much been flawless 2 turns here for Nihal. You will get a free switch, and it's actually going to be the Sylveon. So opted not for the Sand Mode at all this game, and I think he might have been deterred away from bringing the Sand Mode because of the prevalence of Pokemon like Arcanine and Conkeldurr. So Sylveon here still threatening a fair amount. I mean, you're staring down at Bisharp. Rotom's still able to do a fair amount of damage, and Dynamax is ended for both ends. We know that Nihal does have that Arcanine in the back, and that Arcanine can just click Snarl a bunch of times. So, first question I have is, what is Nihal's last Pokemon? If it is Conkeldurr, he still has to play this endgame properly, where you want Rain to first of all expire, and then you want to get a bunch of Snarls off with Arcanine so that whatever you have remaining can just deal enough damage right now, because Sylveon and Rotom are pretty bulky Pokemon.
Yeah, and Sylveon is no slouch when it comes to the damage. Both the Rotom and Sylveon are at full health, so plenty of opportunities to deal that damage back. Looks like Nihal's going to protect Bisharp, wants to save the potential for some Sucker Punches later on if he needs it. Bringing Arcanine in for the Snarl pressure. Nihal's Rotom going first again. We'll be able to get off some Thunderbolt damage onto Sylveon, while Yuya fires back with a Thunderbolt of his own onto Arcanine. And here comes the Hyper Voice from Sylveon. Deals big damage, but not enough to pick up a KO.
Yeah, Rotom actually hangs on there, allowing it to get another attack off, and Arcanine, more importantly, is going to come in there. It's awkward because I feel like Nihal wants to get a free switch in into Arcanine, but then you have to sacrifice something. You want to sacrifice the Bisharp, and it's like, do you just bring in your last Pokemon? Evidently not. So Arcanine now is out. We'll be able to click Snarl. I have to wonder if something like a Hydro Pump from the Rotom will still be able to knock out the Arcanine even after the Snarl. And Nihal's Rotom is not doing very much damage right now, but able to maybe go out and click Thunderbolt one last time before it faints.
All right, Snarl connects with both of Yuya's Pokemon. High-value Snarl there onto the Sylveon and the Rotom, weakening their attack while Rotom fires off another Thunderbolt, this time into Yuya's Rotom, trying to pick up a little bit of extra damage. Hydro Pump misses the Arcanine, and this Hyper Voice with that Snarl nowhere close to picking up the KO there on Arcanine because of the miss on that Hydro Pump. Just going to heal right back up.
That's an absolutely huge miss. Rotom presumably would have been able to get that knockdown. Arcanine has that Agua Berry as well, so heals even more than the normal
Huge
Citrus Berry that we see. And now you can click Snarl even more. And yeah, definitely not what you want to see if you're on Yuya's end, because every Snarl just goes so far in this matchup.
And Nihal's still hiding whatever his final Pokemon is. Does not think that it has a good matchup here, or maybe just wants to preserve it at full health while this Arcanine fires off some more Snarls just like this. Sylveon and Rotom Wash both getting hit by Snarl again, taking the special attack drops. So now both of them at -2, dealing substantially less damage. Bisharp goes first, gets the KO on the Sylveon. You know what? Nihal's not hiding his last Pokemon. He just doesn't need it to pick up these KOs. That's a big knockout. While Yuya tries to make something happen with this nasty plot, but a little too late.
Important knowledge to know that the Bisharp outspeeds the Rotom Wash here as well. So that's going to be something to consider going into the next couple of rounds. But man, like the Bisharp just put in so much work this game, and I think like it's not like Nihal had like an amazing team matchup. I thought the lead was not very great for him actually, but he played super well, going for the protect into Rotom, and then that turn where the Max Darkness just went into the Dragon Ball and got the knockout, I feel like changed everything.
Yeah, it was such a huge ally switch that turn to make sure that Bisharp was protected and able to fire off that Max Darkness into the Dragapult. Now that Yuya knows that ally switch is on that Rotom there, Nihal may not be able to get away with that same move.
Yeah.
It's going to have to watch to see how Yuya adapts to the knowledge, knowing that there is an ally switch on that team now.
Definitely. I think one thing that I wouldn't say, I guess, surprised to see, but I thought like Tyranitar Excadrill can still put in a fair amount of work against Nihal's team despite the Conkeldurr and Arcanine. But I like the decision from Yuya Zen to go with Togekiss and Dragapult. I think he just maybe needed to play a little bit safer with it. If you know Dragapult is your main Pokemon, it's Dynamax, and you know it does so much damage, perhaps protect it a little bit more. Like a Follow Me could have changed things dramatically that turn, let the Bisharp went for Max Darkness. And Sylveon, a good Pokemon to have in the back. I think also nice job on Nihal to not even end up revealing what the last Pokemon is, and so I think that adds more mind games to the factor as well. Was it that Conkeldurr? If so, Yuya might be more dissuaded from bringing Tyranitar Excadrill. So I feel like Yuya actually had a pretty decent lead against what Nihal brought in that last game, but if you want to go with the same thing again, you just have to protect Dragapult better, basically. If you want to switch it up, I think like Sand is still something worth considering. You could always go with like Togekiss Excadrill, Togekiss Rotom. But the thing is that you know now that the Rotom is slower than the Bisharp as well, so you want to make sure that the Bisharp doesn't just like counter you immediately. And I still look at the Excadrill as the answer to that because it, of course, can outspeed and just get a big one-hit KO after Dynamaxing.
Absolutely, and now we are about ready for Game 2 here of our final top 8 match. Yuya Tada is down by 1 game here, needs to win this in order to keep his tournament hopes alive. Nihal just 1 win away from a victory, and again, it's going to be the Bisharp and Arcanine leads from Nihal up against the Dragapult and Togekiss from Yuya.
So we learned a lot of important information in that last game. You know, first of all, there is no way for the Dragapult, looks like, to really get the one-hit KO onto the Bisharp. I still really like the decision to go for Max Geyser. You set up the rain, and then another Max Geyser will pick up the knockout. You don't have to worry about getting snarled by the Arcanine as well onto the Dragapult. So I think Yuya clearly content, saying, okay, you know, I just kind of misplayed in the middle of that first game. I need to just protect my Dragapult a little bit more, and maybe this time around we'll just go for some Follow Me's, and Arcanine decides not to snarl this time because, of course, clear body.
Yeah, just going to switch out for the Rotom Wash on Nihal's side, getting that Pokemon out immediately. Yuya is going to go ahead and decide to Dynamax once again, going to make sure that that Dragapult is back out in Dynamax. And this is such a weird matchup against the Bisharp because, you know, Togekiss can protect the Dragapult, but Bisharp is also very capable of hitting that Togekiss for strong, super effective damage if it does. Nihal going to go ahead and Dynamax the Bisharp again as well. So far, pretty close to a repeat from the first game.
This time around, of course, Rotom just switches out immediately and puts on a little bit more pressure. This Rotom's not going to be doing too much damage, but the threat of ally switch is so real.
Just being on the field, knowing that there's ally switches, that's terrifying.
Precisely.
Togekiss does go ahead and Follow Me to protect Dragapult. Not going for any kind of hard reads here to make sure that the Togekiss survives any kind of Steel-type attacks. Instead, just going to go for another Max Geyser on to the Bisharp. Deals about the same amount of damage, sets the rain again. Here comes the Steel Spike into the Togekiss, activates the Babiri Berry, but that's still going to deal a good amount of damage.
VGC brings it down. Wow, down to around a fourth. Yeah, and nice job by Nihal this time to not just go risk a Max Darkness and try to get greedy and pick up a KO. Probably realizes, okay, Yuya lost that last game because he allowed me to get a free Max Darkness off. This time around, I'm going to play it safe because there's no way he just lets that happen on the first turn.
Absolutely.
But here we go. There's the
same situation.
Yep, and now we have the ally switch mind game once again. Of course, you can just go for something like Follow Me and Max Geyser. Even if you don't call the ally switch correctly, at least you'll be able to get some damage onto either Rotom or Bisharp. I mean, if you target the Bisharp correctly, that should just fame. But if it goes into Rotom, you'll still get some damage off. Bisharp will knock out the Togekiss through Follow Me, and you do get a free switch in at least. So I think Yuya just needs to not do the same thing from last time, which was just give up the Dragapult for relatively nothing. But now he knows, okay, now I know you have ally switch.
Now it's a call that Yuya can make.
Exactly. Plus, I mean, maybe from his head, like, there's no way he's going to Max Darkness again, right? So.
Well, he's definitely not going to Max Darkness again. Just going to Max Guard. Togekiss protects, actually, so no Follow Me coming out. Another Max Geyser from Dragapult connects with the Bisharp into the Max Guard. And a Thunderbolt onto the protecting Togekiss. So let's just redo that, reset, everyone back to places. And let's try that again.
Hilariously enough, if Nihal actually just went for the ally switch Max Darkness again, the Dragapult would have just fainted. But Yuya saying there's no way you make the same play in back-to-back games. So another turn of Dynamax down from both ends, and we're in the same position where, once again, do you predict the ally switch? You could go for a Follow Me and Max Geyser once again to play it like relatively safe. But yeah, Yuya kind of risking it again there, and that was a really, really aggressive play. But I guess.
And on the last turn of Dynamax.
Yeah, oh, here we go. Oh.
Double protected, did not get it. Ally switch from Rotom this time, so Togekiss trying to call a bluff. See if the Dragapult was able to accurately guess this ally switch.
Who's
this
it going
time
into? Oh, it's a Rotom!
Got the Rotom again!
Oh. Nihal gets the better end of the prediction once again. And, it's Max Steel Spike this time around. No Max Darkness.
Okay. So Max Steel Spike through no protect, picks up the KO on Togekiss. Of course, because that double protect failed, raises some defense, but Dragapult is still on the field. Now, unfortunately for Yuya, both of these Pokemon are now going to stop Dynamaxing, cease Dynamaxing, and that opens up Bisharp's Sucker Punch once again.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that was such an aggressive read by Yuya once again, saying you're going to go for the Max Steel Spike into Togekiss. There's no way you click Max Darkness. Doesn't even try to play it safe by going for the Follow Me. Ends up actually making the correct prediction. I feel like going for a double protect that early on is always so risky, especially if the Bisharp actually targets the Dragapult and just gets the Max Darkness off. But, you know, in the end, Yuya does not call the ally switch. The Dragapult will stick around for a little bit longer, but like you mentioned, there is that threat of Sucker Punch now, so you have to make the call. Is he going to Sucker Punch? Because if not, Life Orb Bisharp can, of course, just go for something like an Iron Head. You could double up into the Tyranitar with an Iron Head and a Thunderbolt. Yeah. And, of course, if you go for that Life Orb Sucker Punch, you could just switch out the Dragapult, and the Tyranitar could go for an attack to just knock out Bisharp. So there's some mind games once again, and you have to deal with the ally switch.
Yeah, you've got Sucker Punch mind games, you've got Ally Switch mind games, you have which one of these two Pokemon is going to attack mind games. Dragapult actually just going to switch out, protecting itself from a Sucker Punch. Gets the call, no Sucker Punch from Bisharp. Nihal going for the nasty plot here, and Excadrill switches in for free. Gets the Sand Rush, and Earth Power comes out from the Tyranitar. We already saw that special Tyranitar earlier on in the tournament. That's going to be a KO on the Bisharp.
So I think Nihal kind of making a relatively safe play there. I thought one thing he could do that's a little aggressive is actually double up into Tyranitar with like an Iron Head and the Thunderbolt, but of course that is super risky if the Dragapult just decides to attack. With that play, you're covering kind of all your bases. He's got the Arcanine once again for the Intimidate, which obviously helps against both Tyranitar and the Excadrill. I wrote him with that Nasty Plot off. Now will do a lot of damage to both Pokemon as well. And Excadrill, of course, being Intimidated is a big deal because Arcanine is still at full HP, so you won't be able to knock out that Arcanine, most certainly not after an Intimidate. So Nihal kind of playing it safe there, but definitely pays off. I think what Yuya might want to look for is the switching into Dragapult so that you can get a Draco Meteor off against that Rotom, because we know it's not Mold Breaker Excadrill, so you're not knocking out the Rotom through an attack from there. And I mean, if there's Rock Slide, there is a way. So that might be the move that Yuya goes and depends on. And there's Conkeldurr, which I think is a necessity because you need to cover the Tyranitar Excadrill combination.
Yeah, Nihal not having to show the final Pokemon.
Rotom dodges the Rock Slide!
Yuya's not going to get any help from a Rock Slide here. That's a dodge on Rotom. Hydro Pump connects this time. Will connect with the Excadrill. bring it all the way down to the focus sash. We do have the special Tyranitar to watch out for with this Dark Pulse. Connects with Rotom.
Ooh.
So close to picking up the KO there. And just instead activates the Citrus Berry.
Yeah, I wonder if Rock Slide plus Sand was enough to knock out that Rotom there, but I think, you know, Nihal not even revealing the last Pokemon on that last game, and it was the Conkeldurr and Yuya deciding to go for the Tyranitar Excadrill combination this time, falls into that trap of now having to worry about Conkeldurr. You have a relatively safe play here of going for Mach Punch into the Excadrill and just going for a Hydro Pump into the Tyranitar. If you predict the Excadrill to protect or maybe switch out into Dragapult, you can even be more aggressive and, say, double up into the Tyranitar with like a Mach Punch and Thunderbolt just to maybe ensure a KO there. But, oh yeah, there's no Mach Punch. Wow, okay.
Just opening up for a Rock Slide from that
Whoa,
Excadrill.
Rotom flinches!
Got one.
Oh,
Here comes the Earth Power.
Is it going to be a double flinch?
Little
Is
bit of
Conkeldurr
damage.
going to flinch?
Little bit of damage.
Oh, no, it
doesn't get the
doesn't.
flinch. Drain Punch connects with Tyranitar, picks up the KO, and that little bit of Earth Power damage, just going to heal it right back up.
That was scary. I mean, I was talking about these Mach Punch plays specifically because that's your one way to avoid getting flinched. And you can see how bulky Rotom is there. Yeah, even if the Rock Slide connected last turn, still would have been able to survive. Now
Dark
Conkeldurr
Pulse
is...
may have picked up that KO,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. It would have been close, but now, you know, Conkeldurr puts on so much pressure with that Mach Punch against Excadrill. Nihal still has one Pokemon. I mean, maybe there's a world where Excadrill can pull this, or sorry, the Dragapult can pull this off. We haven't seen Conkeldurr's full moveset yet, I believe, either. So if it does have a way to hit that Dragapult for super effective, namely that Ice Punch, then that really should probably just be the game right here. So great Pokemon decisions by Nihal, and ultimately he played super well going for the correct mind games with Ally Switch, both in Games 1 and Game 2. It's still not over, but I think Conkeldurr is in a tremendous position right now, especially after healing back all that damage from that Drain Punch.
Yeah, Nihal playing really smartly around that Ally Switch. You know, sometimes it's very tempting just to click the Ally Switch button whenever there's a question, but saving it for the moments when he needed it most. Protect from the Excadrill. Ally Switch again on Nihal's side. Rotom and Conkeldurr swapping places. Draco Meteor connecting now with the Rotom. Tried to catch the Conkeldurr. Not gonna do it. Picks up the KO on Rotom, drops the special attack, and this Conkeldurr should be in good position to clean up this game, finishing off that Excadrill and this Dragapult.
What a play.
Shows the Ice Punch, picks up the KO. Conkeldurr is back.
My goodness. I mean, Nihal was on the right end of every Ally Switch call in this game, basically, and I think, you know, Yuya sticking to the Togekiss Dragapult combination, but as we saw, the problem with that combination is if you don't predict the Ally Switch correctly, Dragapult just does so little damage otherwise, and you can't go for something that's super safe like a Max Wormwind or a Max Phantasm. So now you've got Conkeldurr. We'll see if we'll be able to Mach Punch and should secure Nihal's ticket into the top 4. Amazing, amazing play.
Just a forfeit there from Yuya, and Nihal Noor advances to the top 4 here in Melbourne, Australia.